Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and today, brand, small business, and podcast consultant and former guest here on the Rock Fight, Emily Holland is ascending to the co-host chair as she fills in for an out and hiking Shawnté Salabert. Today, Emily and I are going to run through some recent stories that have come out of the outdoor community. But before we get to that, did you miss Monday's episode of The Rock Fight? How about Tuesday's newest open container? Who else takes care of your podcast needs as much as Rock Fight LLC? No one does. Go get caught up on all of our pods and make sure you click follow for both shows on your favorite podcast app. Coming up on Friday, we're going to have a conversation with Doug Schnitzbahn about the state of outdoor culture after a tumultuous first half of the year. And then next week, we'll be back on Monday with the outdoor industry insider, Owen Comerford, as well as creative and brand expert producer Dave with our leading coverage of the outdoor industry. And next Wednesday, even an old friend may be dropping by. A lot going on here at the Rock Fight. Stick around, though. We'll get this episode started, and we'll be right back. In the store aisles, a quiet revolution is happening. With Endeavor, frontline staff aren't just selling products, they're building trust, making connections, and turning browsers into loyal customers. Let's see how. He didn't know which brand he wanted, just that the trail ahead was rocky. But she knew, because she'd trained for this moment right on her phone. A quick conversation, a confident recommendation, and a perfect fit hiking boot later, he's ready for his trip. That's right, she's a... It may be lunchtime, but between sandwich bites, he learned about fog fighting tech and snow goggles. An hour later, that knowledge helped a customer pick the perfect pair and add a helmet too. Learning on the go, selling with certainty, adding value. Yup, he's a... Endeavor is a mobile-first platform that equips retail staff with training, incentives, and tools to boost sales and brand engagement. Brands gain insights, sell-through improves, while retail associates stay motivated. Ready to get started? Just head to endeavor.io, update your brand profile, and upload your dealer list to access the free features and, when you're ready, launch your first pay-as-you-go campaign. With flexible, scalable options, Endeavor turns everyday interactions into strategic wins. The result? Be a shop floor hero. Endeavor's here to stay. Shop floor hero. Sell-through is the way. Liz and Royal Robbins were known as American climbing royalty. Part of the first group of Yosemite-based climbers that would scale routes yet unclimbed. Who would promote the ethic of clean climbing, and who, with a core group of startup brands, would serve as the foundation of our modern outdoor industry. From their very first pair of shorts that could boast a true climbing functionality, Royal Robbins has become synonymous with comfort, versatile wear for the modern adventurer. From Rockcraft Productions coming spring 2026 to a specialty store near you, Royal Robbins presents Being Royal Robbins. It's the story of how the Royal Robbins men's desert pucker became an icon and spawned the new Camino pucker. And it's the story of how an innovative brand launched mosquito protection technology to keep you protected without the use of chemicals, and why the Salif hoodie is possibly the most unique hoodie in our outside world. And how you can experience this uniquely American story of adventure through the thoughtful clothing choices of Royal Robbins. Available for streaming everywhere you find actual water-based tributaries. Being Royal Robbins, because nature and adventure are good for the soul. Emily Holland is here today, filling in for Shawnté Salabert. She's dialing in from the vast plains of Boulder, Colorado. Just blowing around out there, no hills anywhere to be seen.
No, just flat land. This is Kansas, basically. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
It's true. I'm glad you finally acknowledged it.
No, I know there was a draft recently, and I have since moved to Lyons, Colorado, which I'd like to potentially put in the draft at some point. Yeah.
Actually, I co-signed that move. Lyons is actually a pretty dope town. Good job.
Actually, he says.
Yeah.
Great.
Sorry.
The other place you live,
actually,
shithole,
it's fine. You know. But I think if we do the draft again next year, which we probably will, I think previous winners will have to be disqualified, right? So Lyons should definitely be on the board.
Yeah, I have some ideas that I'd like to add in that we can do a stay tuned, watch this space for now.
I would love to hear your ideas for improving the outdoor town draft.
I just have places that I'd like to include. Yeah.
Oh, that was the best part. That was, and I'm sure anybody who's done like a best mountain town list or whatever, this is the vast majority of reader or listener feedback is all the places you didn't mention.
Yeah, of course.
Like, no validation that any of the
losers.
places you mentioned were actually good. It's like, how could you not mention this one place,
And I also learned how to pronounce Doug's last name on your podcast. So there's a lot of learnings here, and I'm here for it.
It's that extra S. It's the spawn. It's not pawn. It's spawn.
Sure, that's definitely what it was. Definitely wasn't the amalgamation of other letters that I've never known how to pronounce together.
I've written this last name more than I ever thought I would at this point. All right, so you've been on the pod before, but we want to make sure our listeners, know what they're getting today. All right, so we're going to play a quick round of get to know your co-host. I'm ripping this off completely from Danny Brown. I was on his pod last week, which is a kind of a pod where he asked random questions. And I'm like, I'm going to ask you, Emily, 3 random questions. And we're going to get to know everything we need to know about Emily here as you co-host the Rock Fight today.
Okay, that's great. And I also really appreciate that you kept these secret because you have a very prepared outline for everything else, but there's no questions in sight that I can see. So I'm excited. I'm excited to just rock with it. Let's do it.
I don't even know. I'm on literally a online random question generator. So I don't even know what I'm going to ask you.
This is AI generated random questions.
Okay, I think this is a good one because actually I think this could be relevant to Rock Fight topics. So first question: how many pairs of shoes do you own?
Holy heck! Okay.
So clearly your outdoor credibility is intact with that answer.
No.
We can move on. What do you think?
I think I own at least 40 pairs of shoes. And that does include, which I'd really love to tell you, Colin, 2 pairs of Crocs, the normal ones, and then 1 pair of boot Crocs.
Oh, God
so
damn
I do
it.
have 3 pairs of Crocs total in my collection. Yeah.
I have to kick you off the podcast now.
And now we're getting rid of her.
Well, that was Emily Holland, everybody. Wow. 40 though. That's a real number.
That includes my big girl high heels that I used to wear to the office. I still just for some reason, I'm like, why would I get rid of these? Maybe I'll need to use them. I'm never going to use them, but I just feel bad getting rid of them. So I have those, but then I have also like hiking shoes, 4 pairs of trail runners, Tevas, like all the different things. Ski boots I consider as part of, like, they're all in it. Yeah.
To your point about the quote unquote big girl shoes, I have a sport coat that literally has a ½ inch of dust on just hanging in my closet that has not been touched in a decade. That I'm like, should I get rid of that? Like, one day you might need to use that somewhere.
No, I think you should wear it to the next Switchback live version of the Rock Fight.
Just we all get dressed. Actually, that's a
very niche
callback. We all got dressed up.
Remember that one episode with Emily Holland?
2 weeks after Switchback last year. All right, I'm going to ask you this one for our next question because, I think it's relevant to your life. Do you believe in soulmates?
No. I believe
Emily's about to get married, so this is a big like breaking news on the Rock Fight.
I believe that like people. I just think that the idea of soulmates as it's sold, where it's like you find someone, you fall in love, and then everything is kind of smooth sailing from there is just like not right. And it kind of indicates that there's like one person for everyone. And I just like don't think that that's true. Yeah, it's absolute bullshit. Yeah. And I think that like my partner, I'm so glad we met, and like our relationship is also a lot of fun work that we have to do together, like to keep it going. Like I'm sure you understand because you've been married for so long. I
certainly do.
Yeah, because you're so much older than me. But I don't believe that soulmates exist. I do believe, however, that me and my sisters, like, there's something special in that sauce, but I don't know if it's like soulmates necessarily. I think you might have like a soul connection with people, but maybe not like, oh, we are one to one. This is the only way this could have happened in the universe.
I love that because when you say soulmate, you just immediately think to like a romantic person in your life, not like, like a sibling or a best friend or something like that, right? So that's a great way of describing it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm here for, to describe things well. Oh, before we move forward, though, I just want to say we met for the first time a couple of weeks ago in person. Obviously, we've met virtually over the years. And I got to say, man, in men over 50, you have the best head of hair out here. Okay. Like it is unbelievable. I can't believe you didn't go to Turkey for this. Like that's unbelievable. So
The funny part is my dad was bald too.
That's even more impressive.
I know.
So I'm not sure
and
what happened.
Both my siblings have like, the friar tuck going on, in the back of their head. So
I feel bad for men who have to go through that. I really do. And it's not fair, but also just everyone, if you get a chance to meet Colin, I actually invite people to come up to you. Don't even talk to you. Just put your hand in the hair, run it through. Very good. Continue.
That's a great compliment. I want to say thank you because I'm this is a little TMI, but I'm an evening showerer, right? So I typically
I thought we would get into your shower habits.
Well, I figured it was, but I figured during the day though, I wear a lot of hats as such because I don't feel like dealing with my hair. So I don't really think about my hair that much. That's a great call. Thank you very much. That's great.
Okay.
Give the old guy
before we move on from the
shot
shower, what's your order of operations? What are we talking here? It's different for everyone. Okay. Just saying.
All right.
We could
Last question. You ready?
Okay.
This is a big one. If you could choose your last meal, what would it be?
Okay. Do I get dessert with it? Is it like multi?
Of course, it's your meal. Yeah.
Okay. So I would do, as a starter, I would probably do chicken tenders.
There's nothing embarrassing about that.
Okay, with honey mustard.
Kind? Are we talking like fast food tenders? Like where are we?
I'm like, like no bone, first of all, tenders. We're talking tenders.
Sure.
Fast food is fine. KFC, Chick-fil-A. I know Chick-fil-A has interesting politics, but the chicken is pretty good. So it's tough.
Yeah, I got over that. It's like, have you had the chicken?
I know. They actually put up little stands outside of Red Rocks every time at the end of the night. It's ingenious because it's all these drunk people. So smart. I think we might have talked about that before. But anyways, chicken tenders. And then I would love a steak, filet mignon with gorgonzola cheese and really amazing mashed potatoes with another level of cheese in there somehow. And then I would like a tiramisu to end that all. Yeah. And
I love that you combine like the kids menu with the adult menu, right? That's actually this is a great meal. Can we just go to dinner? I want you to pick the place.
I'm kind of like
wonderful.
I think I might get some chicken tendies tonight. I think I might.
With a steak.
With a steak on the side, yeah.
I love that. You mentioned when we were talking about what to talk about today, that you were just going to talk about Western states. Was there something specifically on your mind when it came to Western states? Or was it just something that, it had happened recently, so we should talk about it?
Well, it had happened recently and we should talk about it. But I also think that, and I heard on Second Nature this as well. But like trail running is in such a cool spot right now. It's been so cool to see the evolution of Western states. I mean, Dylan and Corinne doing a marathon talk of like doing the announcing or what is it called? You know what I'm talking about? Like
commentating, moderating, commentating.
I mean, that was a feat in itself. I think they were doing that live for like 16 to 17 hours or something along those lines. Like that is insane. And there was like so many people tapped into it. And I just think I'm loving it because I moved away from road running for racing like years and years ago. And I'm so glad that other people are doing that too, because the vibes are so much better in the trail running world. I know you and
that's true.
Owen, I think, talked about recently, like the state of the trail running space too. So, but anyways, I just love to see it. I was very disappointed that David Roche didn't finish, had a DNF. And after all that, we didn't see him get to finish. But it was really fun to just see Dylan and Corinne like going that hard for that long in itself.
So they did the coverage of the race until
the entire time, which is like so difficult because in all of the aid stations, there's like no service. So they have like these drones and satellites up and they're trying to like get intel from their team at the same time. And it's so much more complex than like commentating, like an F1 race or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're getting into your ultra running years. I feel like 30 to 50 is like the prime endurance years. Like I'm coming out of them now. I'm fully embracing like, I don't fucking need to do this shit anymore. Like that's I turned 50 in September. But I do remember being like in my early 30s being like, fuck yeah, I'm going to run 100 miles one day. Like this is awesome. And like going to gobbling up any sort of ultra marathon kind of content I could get. So you're kind of like right in the demo for this kind of stuff, right?
Totally. And I'm also like in the year of ultra running. I've returned to it this year. Like I did a 50K in 2019 and then I came back and did one this year and I'm doing the Grand Traverse later this summer. And so I think I'm just also just psyched about the space right now and like taking training seriously and being just like a smarter athlete than I've ever been. So I don't even think I would have called myself an athlete like 5 years ago, but I'd be getting out there. So I am an athlete.
That's an important evolution because same thing, like a lot of people don't consider themselves athletes at a certain point. Like, just by the fact of getting up and being active, you are indeed an athlete. Maybe you're not winning.
Totally.
I mean, like Emily will win all of these races that she's talking about, obviously. But
yeah. I will win it in my heart and in my spirit.
That's right. Right on. Well, I forgot to mention, bad on me to our sponsor, that this part of the show is brought to you by Lem's Footwear. And the opening shot on the Rock Fight is presented by Lems. Look for shoes that offer both long-lasting durability and all-day comfort. Then you got to look no further than Lems, with a versatile lineup featuring over 30 thoughtfully designed styles, from minimalist sandals, which Shawnté Salabert is actually hiking in some of their sandals right now on the JMT. Not exclusively, but she is wearing them to hike in. They also make rugged trail boots. They make vegan-friendly sneakers, laid-back slip-ons. There's truly something for everyone. So whether you're hitting the trail, traveling the globe, strolling through town, Lems are built to move with you naturally and keep up every step of the way. Get shopping over at lemsshoes.com. You ever wear Lems?
I never wear Lems, but I love the idea of the words vegan-friendly sneakers, because like, can vegans eat those sneakers, or is it just there's no?
That's the best. Yes, it can.
It's a vegan-friendly
animal products.
sneaker menu. That's awesome. Yeah.
God, I'm really hungry. What should I do? Well, these shoes,
On the JMT, when things get hard, you can always eat those.
That's right. Maybe you're hallucinating a little bit out doing your ultra marathon. You need to make sure your vegan-friendly shoes on.
Yeah, there you go.
Just gobble those things right down.
Ew.
All right, today's top stories are presented by Obos, who loves hiking, and as the Cupid of the outdoors, Obos wants to help you love hiking just as much as they do. So first story today, the Tour de France kicked off last weekend. On July 5th, we saw the first of this year's 21 stages. We're recording this on Monday, July 7th. And currently someone has the yellow jersey. I didn't bother to look up who it is. It's only been 2 days. How can it matter that much?
Someone has it.
Someone has it. They're running around. Emily, what are your thoughts on the Tour de France these days?
I don't care. I just don't care.
I'm glad I picked this topic to talk about. All right.
But I think it's a cool, listen, it's very difficult to cycle like that, like endurance wise and athletically, it's impressive as heck. And I think it's cool that there's such a crew around it. Like people are so psyched about it. They plan, vacations around it, and they go to the different areas and stuff. Like that's very cool. I just don't understand road cycling in the slightest. Like I don't understand the appeal. They always are in the way. So I'm just I kind of just have that.
So now we know why you left Boulder. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's so bad. Anyways, I'll get to it in a second. But I also think from growing up in the 90s, just to show how young and sprite I am,
last century. Yep.
Yeah. Shit. I'm growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s when Lance's, domination was happening. Right. I feel like I just have this negative connotation of the Tour de France, that will never change, even though it's a lot has changed in the Tour de France since then. Sure. And I shouldn't think that it hasn't just because of one man. But it was also a lot of men, a lot of people were doing that. But yeah, so I don't care. And also it's impressive at the same time, I guess those are my thoughts.
I think I think you're spot on, frankly, kind of how I feel similarly, right? Because it is objectively impressive. Like if you said to me, hey, cold off the couch, gun to my head, you got to go run Western States or go ride the Tour de France. Totally. Fucking sign me up for the 100 miles. And I'm not saying that ultra marathons are easy by any stretch. I'm just saying that no way. Are you kidding? When you look at what they actually do,
yeah,
it has a claim to the toughest thing there is, right? You gotta respect that, right? But I'm with you. I kind of feel like it has a bit of the almost Major League Baseball problem of the romance is gone. I think, and I definitely have a little bit of a romantic view of that time that you just described because I was old enough that I was getting sucked in by the Live Strong bracelets, and I started riding road bikes and all the stuff, right? And then obviously the downfall comes, and it's like, oh, that sucks that was bullshit. But
Yeah.
it was, there was this sort of, I don't know, kind of felt like it was important. And now, same thing with like baseball. Like I've fallen out of love with baseball because it's like, oh my God, how many more metrics do I need to know about? And like, how many more ways are we like, it's all about the statistics versus about, hey, just a bunch of people out there like trying to play, baseball on a sunny afternoon. And I feel like it's the same way. Like you and I, when we were talking about this, about what to talk about, I sent you a picture of a Tour de France rider from like, was like 1919 or something. And it looks so badass. Like, I'm like, I want to
Yes.
watch that race,
And he's on like gravel and like the worst gear. He's going through these like mountain passes that were not paved at the time.
Like Star Wars goggles on.
Yes, exactly. He looks like he's like living on Tatooine. It's insane. And like, I love that. And that's, I think, with a lot of these sports, like, I think when people become to this like obsessed level, it just kind of like ruins it for other people. And maybe that's a little bit of my like punk Emily era where it's like, oh, you're like a sellout now or something. But it just, I don't know, it becomes this larger than life thing that doesn't feel like it's at its roots anymore. And if you know the demographic of people who ride bikes competitively like that, who are they, right? They're like white, rich 40-year-olds.
It's a very vain sport.
Yeah. And it's like they're little click-clacking with their little like shoes on when they go into the cafe. It's just like so silly. But yeah, I think it's super impressive. You know what also is really interesting to watch is the crashes. I mean, I don't like to see people fall, but the crashes that happen in the peloton is unbelievable. Like people get
literally
so
terrified.
Like
it stresses me out because you put yourself in the mindset of what that must be like, and that would freak me the fuck out.
No, that's like scarier than any outdoor sport I've ever done. Like that idea.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, how do you view cycling in general, right? Because I mean, mountain biking has a really important part, I feel like, in the human powered world. I mean, is cycling though, it does also feel like it kind of straddles two different worlds. I mean, is it sort of canon to being outdoorsy the same way like climbing or hiking is, do you feel like?
I don't think so. I personally, me and my partner, when we see a road biker specifically, we're like, I would never. Because the thing is like, you might be going through like cool roads and like mountainous terrain on a road, but you're still on the road. You're engaging with vehicles. Like you have to be conscious of those things around you. And when I want to go outside, like I don't want to deal with like potentially getting hit by a car. And so like, of course there's nothing wrong with cycling. Like you can do it if that's exciting to you. But for me, like I don't really see it as outdoorsy. It's just like something you're doing outside. Like just like going in the pool is not really outdoorsy to me. It's just like an activity that you do outside.
Floating on the lazy river, not outdoorsy.
Yeah.
That's a quote, Emily Holland, 2025.
Yeah. I'm going to get canceled by all the road cyclists. And I think that they also take over the roads in the Boulder County area. And it's like very scary with some of the passes that they go down. They're going like 60, 70 miles an hour. Well,
that's where almost like back to like what's impressive, right? When you see these descents where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't even like walk down this, like walk my bike down. Like,
I know.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
But there is, I mean, I guess if you do look back on, and I understand your feelings about like the Lance era, the reason why it was so popular was there was kind of this folk hero style thing going on. Yeah. And I wonder, because I'm with you, like I'm not really paying attention. I have a little bit more affinity for the event, obviously, than you do. Would it take is there sort of like, do we need a personality? Is there a personality that could come along, do you think, that could make you care about the Tour de France at some point? Because I feel like if there was like, oh, here's the new like American hero who's over there, like trying to like hang with all these folks, kind of like it happened back then, maybe I'd get a little more invested. Otherwise, I don't know if I ever will again.
Yeah, I didn't think about it in those terms. But when I was thinking about talking about this today, I was like, I wonder if this in my mind is kind of similar to Formula One. And I don't give a shit about cars, but I watched the Formula One Netflix series and now I'm like obsessed with all the drivers. I know everything about the teams. You know, my partner's new company, he'll get to go to the races. Like things are happening in F1. And if they did a Netflix series, not the one, they did like a series or a movie, Icarus or something like that, right? It was about.
Well, that was a documentary. They did an F1 style Netflix series about the Tour de France. They did a couple of seasons of it.
Okay. Was that the one where everything is in French and it's all
Mostly.
subtitled? Okay, I can't then. I'm sorry, I'm out for that. No thanks. I never watch a foreign film. If I have to read everything on the bottom, I'm sorry. That's going to be a no for me.
All right. Well, did you see F1 the movie? Is actually what matters now.
Not
Did you go see
yet.
Brad Pitt?
Not yet, but we are planning to see it because Brad and also all of the drivers are in it and we love the sport. So, yeah.
And come on, Kaczynski he did Top Gun Maverick. This is his follow up to Top Gun
gonna
Maverick.
be sick. And they were like
Yeah.
on the actual tracks. I listened to an
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
of something with Brad and I was like, okay, this is like they really did something cool here visually. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
All right. Well, next story we're going to talk about is a recent article on runnersworld.com recaps a 2023 study that states that getting quality sleep can make you 21% less likely to die from cardiovascular disease alone. The study also suggests that up to 8% of deaths for any reason could be related to suboptimal sleep. I mean, my first reaction was like, yeah, no shit. Like I think we kind of know this now, like about sleep. Like, was it a slow news month that you had to like create an article? But at the same time, it's got 21% is a big number. So
Yeah.
Emily, how are your sleeping habits these days?
I thought the same thing when you sent this to me. I'm like, is this from like 10 years ago? I thought we were talking about sleep like 10 years ago. Like what happened here? And it is from a study
right? We all
2
know
years
sleep
ago.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. You do sleep good, you don't die. I want to ask you actually first, as a parent, do you feel like you, especially early on, let's say the first 10 years of being a parent, what hours of, like how many hours were you getting per night of sleep on average? I mean, newborn time is a little bit different, right? But
yeah, newborn times is a little different. Our kids were pretty good, and I'm kind of an early to bed, early to rise guy anyway. So
yeah, okay.
There were definitely moments or there are times when like they're up or or nightmares or whatever. And we also like we're pretty, I don't relate to the parents who do co-sleeping. We're like, that's your fucking bed. This is my fucking bed. like that's the way it is. So, I mean, and part of that might sound mean, but part of that was we also know if we don't sleep well, we're not going to probably be better parents during the day too, right? This was before this study. We figured that out. So, yeah, the parenting thing for me, unfortunately, I don't think was too much of an issue. But I think for a lot of people, it is. I remember I had a friend who literally, like, their newborn, this is a long time ago, but slept like an hour a day. And I'm like, oh my God, how are you living? That's terrifying to me.
I'm so happy with my decisions right now. I think I sleep
that's
pretty
not
well.
normal, but yeah.
I sleep 8 to 10 hours depending on the night. And I'm also like, I like to get up early. I like to get after it like early in the day. That's like my best focus time and everything.
Yep.
But I have always had issues with these like studies that come out about sleep. And I'm like, how many of these people are parents and how many of them are not? Because there's also all these studies about as you age, your sleep gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, are they talking about just parents? So like later and like as you have kids, your sleep gets worse and worse and worse because of worry, newborn, whatever. Or is that like just true of everyone? So I would like a follow-up study on that. Child-free versus child-full people.
That works.
Yeah. But I think that this is a really like a waste of a headline, if I'm being really honest. Like it's obvious. Yeah. If runners especially don't know that they need to get more sleep because they're training, yikes.
As a fellow early to bed, early to rise person, are you also annoyed at the amount of people who ask you how you are capable of waking up so early? It drives me crazy. I've always been this way. Like even like when I was like hard party drinking guy in my early 20s and like 8 a.m. I could get up to like 3 in the morning. My eyes would just like pop open by like 8 a.m. I've just always been a wake up person. And everyone, so now it's like, I like getting up early because it's like, oh man, no one else is up. I got the house to myself. I can make coffee, the whole deal.
It's quiet. Like no one's emailing you yet. You're like, you can really get
except
into
you and I,
like,
because we're up and we're emailing everybody else.
Sorry, my bad. No, I'm like, I totally feel you on that. When people, for a while, I was getting up at 5 every day to go train with a friend for rock climbing, and people would be like, oh my God, I didn't do that. I'm like, I go to bed at 9. What's the issue? Like I get in my bed at 8:30.
Yeah.
And then
And
I'm
you know
in
what?
bed
I
by
would
9.
get in at 7:30 and be totally
Yeah.
happy doing it.
I love when that 8 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, ooh, it's almost time to
Oh, it's
go to
almost
bed.
bedtime.
Let's go. Time to read. What a nerd. Holy shit. I've really changed.
Well, how do you feel about Dawn Patrol?
I feel great about Dawn Patrol. I want to get up early and get after it anytime I can. So I'm good with that.
You're all right?
I love an
I
Alpine
don't like to leave the
start.
house in the morning. I like my morning time to be mine, and I don't want to go
Well,
do
not
anything.
every day. I don't want it to be like every single day I'm doing Dawn Patrol because then it's like I don't need to patrol that much, that there's not a lot going on. But like I like to balance it, right? So like today I got up at like 5:45 and just worked for like 3 hours and then went on a long
Yeah.
run. Like I like
Right.
the flexibility of that too, but I still like to get up early every day. Yeah. So I'm with you on that for sure.
All right. Well, there you go, runnersworld.com. We need an updated study and stop running lame studies about stuff that we already know.
Yeah.
That's what we have for you this week.
There's AI running shoes now. Like focus on that. Write about that.
Oh, the spray on shoes. I forgot that I was going to add
Oh,
that to our
not
outline. I
those.
forgot.
No, there's a great new startup called Avelo that I actually know the founder of through a client, and it seems like it's going to be really interesting tech. It looks at your gait and like gives you
Interesting.
recommendations. I think on like training and stuff. Anyways, I can't speak to it very well, but it's a new thing. Maybe they should write about that.
Probably won't recommend different shoes though. Like, no, don't worry. These shoes are fine for you. You don't need to look at other shoes.
That's fair. Yeah.
All right, our last story today, per an article on Explorer's Web. Last week, a 6-year-old boy, I'm going to say this incorrectly, I'm sure, Tegbir Singh? Sounds like maybe solid effort there. Do you co-sign that? Tegbir Singh?
I don't know.
Tegbir? I don't know. Anyway, a 6-year-old boy summited Mount Elbrus, a.k.a. the highest peak in Europe, which stands at 5,642 meters or 18,510 feet. Climbing Elbrus, quite the undertaking. The journey for this young child took 8 days. The journey to the summit took 8 days. He went with his father, and according to his mother, he had a trainer and followed a special diet in order to be able to reach the summit. Now, the title of this article was, record or irresponsible. I say irresponsible, but what say you, Emily Holland?
Well, as we've established, I am child free. I do not have children, and so I have
Send them
different
all to the summit. I don't care.
Yeah. I'm like, if they want to do that. What I think is more funny about this, I think that it's fine. I don't care, really. I'm like, you as a parent got to make decisions for your kid. Sure. But what I think is more funny is to think about a 6-year-old having a trainer and like having true meltdowns of like, I have to do what again? Like, I have to eat this disgusting food again? Like, that's what's more funny to me to think about than like this whole other question about irresponsible or not.
100%. There was a old episode of the pod when Justin was on with me, like probably close to 2 years ago now, if not over 2 years ago, when I was on a bike packing trip and we came across this family that had like these 2 super children, like out mountain biking in the middle of the San Rafael swell in Utah, just like dominating this trail. And one of them was like 12 years old. It was 2 years ago because remember my twins were 12 at the time. And it's not a matter of capability. I understand. I mean, I think, back to our thing about Tour de France and Western States. I mean, we know that so much of this stuff is in our head, right? And like, you could get off the couch and walk the length of the Western States, course tomorrow and probably cross the finish line and at some point. Couldn't win it, but your body is truly capable of a lot of different things. And I think that is probably the same as when you're a kid, but it's what does it take to get you to that point?
Yeah.
Right. And that's why that was my point about like, how many weekends did that kid I saw in Utah have to basically give up to go out there and train with their parents in the desert to be able to nimbly ride up that hill? And I'm not saying that kid wasn't like stoked to do it. Maybe they were. All I know is from my experience, like, I don't know if there's a lot of kids out there who really want to do stuff like this and then have a 6-year-old. He's 6.
Yeah. I know.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
that's like, it's not pre-memories, but it's like kind of on that cusp of like, will they even know that they did this in a way? Like, I feel like when because this is one of the 7 summits.
Yeah.
And when I think of these feats, I think of like, I mean, I've only done the easiest one of Kilimanjaro, but like, I did it and I was like, here's all the things I learned. Like I learned all this stuff about myself. I learned about this culture and I learned about this. And I felt like I just was changed from the experience.
Right.
And I like that. It's sad to me that this kid will not be changed from this experience. There's no way he could be like, and then I saw the sunrise over the valley and I knew
all
I
of my
wanted to be a
training
doctor.
was worth it.
What? Yeah. So I don't know. I live in Colorado. There's a lot of feral children who are doing a lot of crazy stuff out here. And I am not in a position to say that's good or bad parenting. I don't know because I have a dog.
Totally. And you're right. And like I'm sure there are plenty of examples of like, hey, the kids are pressing the parents to go.
Totally. Yeah, we don't know if Teg Beer saying was like, I really want to climb Elbrus. It's also in Russia, which is like, but yeah, you're calling out like also the dangers of this, which I feel like, I don't know if this is true, but I imagine a 6-year-old is not like fully in control of all of their motor skills the way that like a fully fledged adult is. And so if you're like in an exposed situation, like what? I don't know if you can trust yourself to be in that.
It's also made worse by like the photo. It looks like a little kid wearing his dad's coat on the summit.
They're like, oh, you didn't bring the right jacket, so I'll give you mine.
He looks miserable.
Yeah.
Like,
not happy at all.
Make me climb the mountain. Yeah. No, I have a feeling that like the kid I experienced, like I crossed paths with in Utah, there's probably a better chance that kid liked what they were doing versus this kid slogging up 8 days on Mount Everest is my guess. So
yeah, I see a lot of kids doing crazy things out here, and some of which are crying, some of which are not. So who are we to say? I don't know.
Well, and I guess that's this is I have someone with kids, and having been around a lot of outdoorsy people with kids, I definitely have a bit of I guess a hot spot or a button that gets pushed when I've seen a lot of parents where I'm like, you really want to bring your kid out here with it? They don't seem to be enjoying themselves, Who wants to be here more, you or them, and at some point does building toughness, cross over into, maybe you're crossing a line here with what you're doing with your kid today. But
yeah, and it's really hard to know because their brains are changing so fast. So like, even if he expressed that he wanted to do that 6 months ago, is that really true?
Kids say all sorts of things.
Yeah, right. Kids say the darndest stuff, don't they?
Do.
They say they want to climb Mount Elbrus.
Got to be great if there was like a video and the kid's like, no, man, I really wanted to climb Mount Everest. But also, what do you remember from when you were 6? Like, to your point,
that's
like you're not going to have. Yeah.
Anyway. I don't remember anything from that. Maybe fishing, but that was, I don't know. Who knows?
Way. Today's top stories on the Rock Fight were brought to you by Oboes, who wants to share their love of hiking. We want to help them by uncovering all the different reasons we love to take the long walk, including the following. Number 1 today, saying just one more mile, to the point of our pal in Russia. It builds mental toughness. It also builds lies. That's the other thing it builds.
Oh,
have you ever said just 1 mile, or have you like, maybe how can I make it fewer miles?
I'm more in that. My partner is notorious for being like, I think it's just 0.2 more miles, and then it's like 7 more miles. So I just don't trust anything anyone says about how much longer I have anymore.
Okay, so we've established that you and I are both early to bed, early to rise. Are you also like within the first 10 minutes, you're already visualizing what you're going to eat when you're finished?
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely, and they're probably going to be chicken tenders, to be honest. But
your last one.
No, I either drink or eat. Like sometimes it's really hot. I'm like, I'm going to get a lemonade after this, and it's going to change my life, I think. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
And it does every time.
It does.
Number 2 today, and also this relates actually to what you just said, because you enjoy yelling, is this the trail? Every 10 minutes. It's the flip side of the, how many more miles?
Called out, yeah.
This is random. Number 3 today, you can't hike and doom scroll at the same time, which is a good thing.
So true.
Gotta put that phone away. Mm-hmm. Number 4, hiking means the Katabatic collection featuring the Katabatic LT. The LT takes the Katabatic collection to a whole new level with a lighter package and additional environmentally friendly materials. From fast packing to day hiking, the Katabatic LT is your new shoe of choice. And if you're in the market for a pair of Katabatic LTs, be sure to head to nwild.com to get shopping. Nwild is an online outdoor retailer based in my hometown of Lancaster, PA, which is kind of bonkers to me. And number 5, this hiking appreciation moment is brought to you by Oboes of Bozeman, Montana, the maker of premium quality footwear for the trail and the Cupid to the outdoor world. Oboes. Love hiking.
I like the ending there. Love hiking. That's just how it is.
That's the tagline.
Yeah.
It's time for a party shot.
Anyway, for the parting shot today, I need to ask anyone who covers anything that comes out of our current presidential administration to just include all the facts, right? Even if they may seem a little extraneous. So this past Monday, SGB Executive Newsletter put up a post where they praised the work of Jessica Turner and the Outdoor Rec Roundtable for the work they did in preventing Senator Mike Lee's proposed public land sell-off in the recently passed One Big Beautiful Bill, which makes me throw up a little bit every single time I say it. If you want to listen to Jessica, she was on Open Container last week you can get the behind the scenes story of that effort. Anyway, the piece kind of turns the one in SGB to highlight what the Trump administration is working on when it comes to its current outdoor policy, starting with the implementation of the Explore Act. They signed it this past week, but then also covering 2 new programs, the Department of the Interior Patriot Program and a new executive order called Make America Beautiful Again. Yeah. Emily's pounding her forehead. I'm with you on that.
They just love an acronym in this administration. They love it.
They're going to wear everybody down, though. It's just like, oh, no, we've always all said that, right? It also highlighted a number of Trump administration wins. I'll link the article in the show notes so you can read the whole thing if you like. When it comes to these new initiatives, though, the SGB article, it really feels as if it's presenting the administration in almost like a positive light. And it also lacks references to things like the DOGE staffing cuts earlier this year, the recent rollbacks of protections for our national forests, the fact that it is largely agreed upon that the passage of the big, beautiful bill will set us back years, if not decades, when it comes to combating climate change. And I did reach out to James Hartford at SGB, who let me know there was no pro-Trump bent to the article. They were just simply recapping what happened. So I suppose my parting shot, and this is, just the world we live in right now, is that I want to use this piece more as a call to action to those covering this dumpster fire of an administration and the moves that they're making, because anything we report on when it comes to Trump needs to highlight the bad, even if there is some good. Because I think we all know what he's attempting to do to our country. Like, we are genuinely in fraught times, and where those of us with a voice need to do what we can to hold the administration accountable. So I'm not trying to call out SGB. I appreciate James getting back to me. But I just feel like we probably needed a little more color around what all of these things mean. So that's my parting shot. What do you think?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think also, like, anything that comes out of this administration that could even be remotely deemed a win for maybe us more progressive, care about the environment, care about civil rights, care about human rights types of people, it just always feels like there's an ulterior motive. And so anything that they do that has like some semblance of hope, I'm also just very wary, and I want there to be a nuanced view in anything that I'm reading or listening to. So
you just said it more eloquently than I could have. That's exactly what I'm getting at here.
Yeah. I listen, I want there to be extreme protections on public lands and a real recognition that the outdoor industry is a huge industry and that outdoor recreation is a super important part of quality of life. And we need to really recognize the damage that this administration has done this time and last time. So I just think that was definitely missing. And there was even a part where they were talking about a quote from the White House that said, like, there's been irreparable damage done to the outdoor spaces that we love from past administrations. And I'm like, well, I hope you're including yourself in that because couldn't ever.
No.
So anyways, I think that this is probably a great thing for us. And I'm very wary of the moment where he changes his mind and his ego gets in the way and he reverses any executive orders that he put into place. So that's my parting shot. I don't trust.
You're yes-anding my parting shot.
Trust no bitch. Trust no bitch. That's what I say.
I mean, that's to your point though. That's kind of the thing. There's occasionally you see like the top, like whatever he's using to sell what he wants to do. And it's like, I could see there being like a need for that or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then it's like when you get into like why it's actually happening and it's all built on a bed of lies, like the only reason that bill passed is because it was largely unpopular with everybody, but everyone's like, well, I don't want them to primary me, the Republicans. So we're going to vote for it. I mean,
Yeah.
like that shit, like that's where we are with things.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like a tangent, but literally in inciting a war, he he was literally trying to have a ceasefire happen like the first couple days of Israel bombing Iran and saying like, no, we're not going to get involved. And then his ego came into play and he decided to get involved. And so I mean, he's done that time and time again. So how could this be any different? I mean, hurt people, and he's a really hurt person.
He really is. Yeah, and like, we don't. I mean, obviously we touch on politics a lot now, but it's just
yeah.
like,
Sorry,
I went down
there.
No, I just we're about. I guarantee you, next Monday we'll be talking about tariffs because all the tariff stuff's going down this week, right? I mean, it's just
so fun.
I really do believe, and that's kind of my point, is that like if we have a voice, it's important to continue to reiterate the truth because it's kind of what their playbook is right now is to kind of like control the narrative and fuck that. Don't tell me about make America beautiful again after you just like laid off all the people in the the Forest Service and the National Park Service and like give me a break. So I think it warrants mentioning. So
totally,
that's it.
I think it does.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all.
That's all we got. All right. Should we anything we want to end on a lighter note?
Make America Colin's hair again. Make Colin's hair everyone's hair. I'm just trying to think of a better tagline.
It doesn't work. I don't fit into the Trump model, fortunately for me.
You can't put me in a box.
You can't put me in the Trump box. Well, thanks for co-hosting today.
Yeah, these were big shoes to fill, but I was happy to do it. Happy to come on here. I was like, every time I get to talk to Colin on the Rock Fight, I just feel like, I can just be like my sassy full self. It's great.
So any potential clients, ignore this episode and don't
listen. Don't listen. I don't have any personality. I'm just an avatar on the internet.
All right, that's the show for today. Hey, we want your emails. Send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. The Rock Fight's a production of Rockfight LLC. For today's very special guest host, Emily Holland, I'm Colin True. Thanks for listening. Here to take us out, our guy, Krista Makes. I'm going to go see Krista Makes in less than Jake. 2 weeks. Very excited. He's going to sing the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.